While vacationing with my family in South Dakota's Wind Cave National Park, I experienced something I'll never forget. We were driving down a road in the middle of the park, and the car in front of us parked between a bison and her calf. Naturally, the female charged the car in order to protect her calf, after repeatedly ramming the car. Terrifying the passengers inside, the people finally drove away unharmed. Well, except for their car. While I was able to witness man versus wild, most Americans do not. Our National Park Service has voiced concern that park attendance is falling. In this technological era, people are spending more time plugging in than camping out. All Americans should care about their own history and culture. These saved and preserved lands were meant for the people to visit and to use as a refuge from cities, an oasis to get back to nature. The national parks are part of what it means to be an American. They provide an abundance of opportunities to all ages, making it essential that we take advantage of these national treasures so that these parks become increasingly appreciated, supported, and continue to thrive. So today, let's take a hike through our national parks by examining first why Americans are not taking full advantage of the parks. Second, understand the impact that this is having. And finally, see how we can get down with the flora and nurture our inner tree hugger. Increasingly, most Americans' first destination for a trip or vacation is a theme park. Disneyland, Six Flags, or Valley Fair. It's this mindset that we are more into our theme parks than we are into our natural parks that reveals our problem. The National Park Service reports that the visits to the nation's 392 parks dropped 14 million people in just 6 years. Further, 62% of the total park guests only visit the top 10 most popular national parks, which leaves the others with just over 30% of the visitors. As a result, a majority of the parks are not receiving the appropriate amount of visitations needed to keep the parks thriving. Unfortunately, this drop has continued downward since 1987, when visits averaged 1.2 visits per person per year. In 2003, that number had fallen to 0.9 visits per person per year. If this rate of decline continues, each year the parks will lose approximately 2.3 million visitors, and in 50 years, the national park system would lose over 120 million guests. Clearly, the lack of visitors to our nation's national parks is having drastic effects to the future of these amazing places. But there's more. We must realize what we are missing out on by not visiting the parks. There are psychological benefits to exploring these natural wonders. Psychologist Jonah Lehrer confirms these benefits in his 2008 study of the benefits of nature, reporting that, unlike a city, nature is full of interesting stimuli, like sunsets or birds, that triggers our awareness abilities. It's that we can't help but notice the red-orange sunset or a twilight sky. Paying attention to the sunset doesn't take any extra cognitive control. Our attentional circuits are able to refresh themselves. It's like a paradise to our minds. I was able to experience this psychological benefit when I sandboarded at White Sands National Park. I was going down the hill so fast, standing on my sled, that I hit a small rock and all out face planted into the sand. Sure, it was painful, but it was much better than sitting in front of the TV or computer. The National Park Service provides physical and psychological activities that relieve stress. John Jarvis, the director of the National Park Service, in a July 28, 2010 personal interview, emphasizes our need for the parks. National parks are for the ages and through the ages, as in future generations. We provide access for those with the disabilities, for the young and for the old, and for the families. Later, Jarvis goes on to say, "Where else can you see wolves catch an elk? See and hear the roar of an 1812 cannon fired? Experience the true dark unto the Milky Way? or walk in the footsteps of dead presidents. To ensure that our national parks are growing and thriving into the future, we must take action in 3 ways. First, simply go to a local park and help keep it alive for future generations. For a minimal entrance fee, a day at a national park offers many activities you can do. For example, the Junior Ranger program for kids to middle-aged teens challenges you to complete a booklet about the park and its characteristics. Upon completion, you may receive a badge similar to the actual park rangers. Additionally, some parks offer hiking, exploring sand dunes, mountains, volcanoes, and beaches. Second, encourage your school district to take advantage of the national parks for class trips and learning experiences. It would be a fun educational day, with the bonus of being out of the classroom. For those people who take these opportunities, their comments typically include, "We love this trip. We were so relaxed and peaceful. Unbelievable," and many, many more. Out of 10 visitors, 9 ranked it 5 out of 5 stars. Considering that on a list of the 60 most fun things to do, for little or no money, 8 of the top 10 ideas were done at a national park. So get out there and take a break. Even the president is using the national parks. 2 years ago, the Obama family witnessed the wonders of Old Faithful at Yellowstone National Park, and last summer explored Acadia National Park. There is nothing so American as our national parks. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt stated, "The fundamental idea behind the parks is that the country belongs to the people, that is, in the process of making, for the enrichment of the lives of all of us." Today, we have taken a hike through our national parks and examined first why Americans are not taking full advantage of the parks. Second, understood the impact that this is having. And finally, realized that the national parks are far more than just pretty flowers and big trees. We must realize that national parks can not only benefit us, but generations to come. With physical and psychological benefits, visiting a national park is a priority that we all should make. By making this a priority, everybody will be able to have their own experiences in parks across the nation. Just hopefully, one's not involving a bison and a calf.